Hello again, and welcome to the second episode of our series called Fearless Theory, where I'll be teaching you how to become a fearless music theory expert. My name is Joe Valdez. I'm one of the teachers here at the San Jose Academy of Music, here in glorious, sunny San Jose, California. Let's get started. So, let's continue our deep dive into the wonderfully nerdy world of music theory. As you may recall, in the last episode, we talked about half steps and whole steps. Half steps and whole steps are like the ABCs and 1, 2, 3s of music theory. They're that basic. You've got to know what they are in order to understand the rest of your music theory journey. All of the most commonly used instruments can play half steps and whole steps, and those two concepts are used in a variety of genres as well. Today's topic is one of the most popular, if not the most popular concept in all of music theory. Most music enthusiasts have probably heard of this concept at least once or twice before. Knowing how whole steps and half steps work is essential in understanding our new music theory concept. So today, let's take a deep dive into the wonderful world of scales. So let's go ahead and talk about our major scale as it relates to our piano. Let's begin our topic of scales by beginning with the most basic scale of them all, which is the major scale. How did I come up with this? Let's begin by defining what a scale is. A scale in music is a very specific pattern of half steps and whole steps that you can repeat over and over and over throughout the piano, or even a guitar, or what might have you. Let's go ahead and figure out what the pattern is for our C major scale. Take note, this pattern is repeatable and you don't have to begin on C all of the time. You can begin on any key on the piano. As long as you follow the pattern of the major scale, you will get the sound of a major scale. Let's start on C and follow the prescribed pattern as seen at the top of the screen. Our first step is a whole step. So skip, we go here. Our next step is a whole step. So skip, and we go here. Our next step is a half step only. So that means we go to the key right next to this one. And our next step is a whole step. So we skip this one and go to this one. And our next step is another whole step. So we skip this one and we go to this one. Our next step is a whole step, and so we skip this one and we go to this one. And finally, for our last step, we have a half step. So we go one key right next to it. And that gives us all of the notes in our C major scale. C, skip, D, skip, E, and then half step, skip, skip, skip. The half step is our last step. And that gives us our C major scale. Just for fun, let's go ahead and start on a different key for our major scale. Let's do G. Let's follow the major scale formula and let's see what happens. Our first step is a whole step, skip. The next step is still a whole step, skip. Our next step is a half step. So we definitely need to go to the key that is right next to the one that I just pressed. Our next step is a whole step. Our next step is a whole step. Now look here real quick. Our next step has to be a whole step. So that means we now have to press a black key, which is our F sharp. If we went whoop, wrong note. We have to go F sharp. That's a whole step. And finally, for our last step, we have a half step back into G. And that gives us our G major scale. And the exact same thing applies to the guitar. The major scale formula applies throughout all the other instruments you might want to play. Whole step, skip this fret, jump to the next. Whole step, skip this fret, jump to the next. Half step next. So we go to the fret right next to it, which is this one. Whole step next, skip this fret, go to the next. Whole step next, skip this fret, go to the next. Whole step next, go to this fret. And our last step, right next to this fret, is a half step. And that gives us a C major scale on the guitar. And so there you have it, folks. That's the major scale formula. Remember that this major scale formula applies to all the other instruments you might want to play. Once again, my name is Joe Valdez. I'm one of the teachers here at the San Jose Academy of Music. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you next time in our next episode for Fearless Theory. And remember to be fearless.